Another war is waged against Pakistan in the form of information operation. The state is under attack, not with guns and missiles, but with misinformation and psychological manipulation. This is a disinformation assault aimed at breaching Pakistan's cyber and digital sovereignty, designed to destabilize the country, distort its soft image globally, and weaken its national security and unity. But who are the masterminds behind this? How do they manipulate public perception? And most importantly, what must Pakistan do to counter this war? Information operations are deliberate campaigns designed to manipulate the flow of information, influence minds, and destabilize societies. Unlike conventional warfare, this is psychological, fought in the cognitive domain. They exploit emotions, beliefs, and grievances using digital tools to create a perception war. This is a calculated assault on the minds of the people. Misinformation spreads faster than truth, and today technological advancements in artificial intelligence, social media, and digital platforms have made it easier to fabricate narratives. The challenge is that while technology for misinformation is advancing rapidly, the ability to counter it remains limited. The result: a battlefield where truth struggles to survive against the onslaught of deception. And Pakistan is a prime target of this modern warfare. Pakistan has been facing these operations from multiple sources, but the most aggressive campaign originates from India. The EU Disinfo Lab Report 2020 exposed a vast Indian disinformation network spanning 750 media outlets in 116 countries, along with 10 defunct UN-accredited NGOs, all working to spread anti-Pakistan propaganda. This network created fabricated stories about Pakistan's role in terrorism, human rights violation, and economic instability, feeding these narratives into international media and policymakers. Indian media houses like ANI played a central role in amplifying these false claims, using fake think tanks and research publications to give them legitimacy and authenticity. The objective was clear: to isolate Pakistan diplomatically, undermine its credibility in global forums, and weaken its internal cohesion. The international media, particularly Western outlets like BBC and CNN, have also played a role in shaping anti-Pakistan narratives. Their selective reporting exposes their bias, remaining silent on terrorist attacks by TTP and BLA while actively promoting and giving prime-time coverage to PTM and BYC that provide oxygen to terrorism and separatism. This pattern is not coincidental. PTM and BYC operate in a grey zone where political activism overlaps with ideological and logistical support for extremist elements. They pull vulnerable youth from marginalized areas into their movement, where they are later recruited by separatist and terrorist organizations. The reach of this information operation extends deep into Pakistan's social media space, where certain journalists and YouTubers function as amplifiers of enemy narratives. So-called politically aligned journalists and YouTubers like Imran Riaz Khan, Wajahat Saeed Khan, and Muiz Pirzada have repeatedly presented every state action as controversial, every security operation as oppressive, and every counter-terrorism measure as an attack on civil liberties. The misleading coverage of the Jafar Express attack by BLA, the PTM and BYC-led chaos, and the false framing of Pakistan's national security policies have contributed to psychological manipulation in the cognitive domain. The goal is to create distrust in the state, delegitimize its efforts against extremism, and provide indirect ideological cover to violent groups. This is not a random pattern. It is a structured information war designed to weaken Pakistan internally and on the global stage. The purpose of such warfare is clear. First, to erode public trust in state institutions by constantly feeding skepticism and negativity. Second, to distort Pakistan's soft image internationally, discouraging foreign investments, tourism, and economic partnerships. Third, to create social polarization and political instability by weaponizing narratives of ethnic, religious, and political divisions. Fourth, to directly interfere in Pakistan's counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency efforts by portraying security operations as human rights violations, thereby pressuring the state into inaction. The role of digital media in this war cannot be ignored. Fake news, doctored videos, and manipulated social media trends have become powerful tools of subversion. Omar Media in Waziristan, which served as a propaganda arm for TTP and BLA's media wing in Balochistan, are clear examples of how terrorist organizations use information warfare to spread fear and recruit followers. Social media platforms like X, former Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube are regularly exploited to manufacture trends against Pakistan, often orchestrated through coordinated BOT networks originating from hostile states. This is not an isolated challenge. Other countries have faced similar threats and responded decisively. Sri Lanka, during its war against Tamil separatists, implemented strict digital surveillance to prevent extremist propaganda from influencing the population. Brotherly China, recognizing the power of digital misinformation, developed advanced AI-driven fact-checking and real-time monitoring to detect and neutralize hostile digital campaigns in real time. These examples highlight an important lesson. Countering information warfare is not a defensive act, it must be offensive. Pakistan needs a proactive counter-misinformation strategy that operates on multiple fronts. First, the state must take ownership of its digital narrative by strengthening its media outreach and exposing disinformation with factual rebuttals. Second, legal frameworks must be enforced against individuals and platforms that knowingly spread enemy propaganda. Third, investments in artificial intelligence-driven surveillance can help detect and neutralize hostile information campaigns before they gain traction. Fourth, education initiatives should focus on media literacy, empowering citizens to recognize and reject misinformation. This is no longer just a battle of narratives, it is a battle for national security. Pakistan must strike back against this information warfare with strategic precision, digital resilience, and a firm commitment to truth. The days of passivity are over. The fight for Pakistan's stability, security, and sovereignty begins now. This is Amara Farad Baloch, and you are watching Nexus Bulletin.